always curious. Now, we saw it from, like, a viewer standpoint. From a producer and, like, behind-the-scenes standpoint, how did you guys handle the Migos situation?
Oh, my God. Can I tell you? Can I fucking tell you this story?
Yes, please tell us.
Please.
We're all really
From
interested.
My perspective, my point POV, okay? So, BET, I remember writing a little pitch to, we had like an inner person at Complex that helped us get that because they knew somebody that was close to them at BET. So I made a little pitch sheet, little one sheet. We thought it'd be dope. We wanted them to like move around and like do things, but we also had to keep in mind that they talk shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, Joe worked really hard and fought me to the death. About getting security, and I was trying to get that for him and all of these things. So we finally got security because, you know, credentials are tight, space is limited. We literally, like, God bless BT and the People's Heart, like, gave us, like, two stages instead of just one. So, like, we had 8 feet wide instead of, like, 4 feet wide. We had 8 feet wide, but it was still the same length here. Mind you, we're in a tent. Okay, mind you, there's a bunch of electrical wires behind me and a bunch of Kino flows to light everything. So, which means that if something were to go awry, that whole shit would go up flames and it would be really bad.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I had like no space. I'm trying to like set up my 3 cameras. How can I do this? I put the camera literally up against the tent because to get my wide shot because I had no way to do it. So I kind of, you know, guerrilla style that.
Yeah.
And then we actually had 3 extra stools for when the Migos comes. And we know that Joe is very, very, very particular about who he interviews and he wants to make sure it's a good interview. So he'll watch the interviews. Like he researches his shit to a T. And so he's like, I don't want to interview this person. I don't want to interview that person. Why are we interviewing this person? And like, so I cannot take all the credit for all the creativity. Like we all worked as a team and like was on group chat, you know, group text and stuff and trying to figure out, is this okay? Do we think this is cool? What about this? Like, this is why this would be a good idea.
Yeah.
So we finally got Migos, even though he kind of didn't really want them. And mind you, Lil Yachty was like our first interview ever at Everyday Struggle. And it was still the beginning stages. So Joe was like, you know, like his temperature was a little different. And then he kind of got into the groove. So... but we didn't have a problem with Yachty. Like, Yachty was fine. He left. He was happy. He was like, yeah, you know, Joe was like, I'm not trying to, like hate you. Or I'm not mad at you. I just want you to understand. And he was like, yeah, cool. And he handled it really well.
Yeah.
You know, he's calm, right? He's from the good side of the streets, obviously. And so after that, I guess because Migos is friends with him, there was that tension because the social cut that we put out, obviously, was that great piece.
Yeah.
Like I had to put that out. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna not.
That was
like,
a good.
Cut it from here.
You did your job. Yeah, you did your job.
And like put it out because it's funny.
Yeah.
And so, but then it's like you relive that moment of now you're embarrassed all over again and all of the shit. So it was just a little awkward after that. And now, so when the Migos came. And Joe's explained the behind the scenes stuff, but this was why. It was about Yachty, right?
Yeah.
So when the Migos came, there was one of them didn't give him dap. I forget which one it was. He didn't give him dap, and Joe was already like, all right, here the fuck we go.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have no problem with Yachty. It's not that serious, but fine. And Joe's very big on fucking disrespect, obviously.
Well, yeah.
So we all sat down. So I'm over here. This is what I'm doing. This is my job here. I'm literally clapping, which is, for all the folks that don't know at home, it's when you take the clapper and you clap, so that way the editors know.
Take one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The take 2, the take 1. So, and I'm literally taking set photos, listening on a headset to what they're saying, rapping talent so other talent could come because the red carpet don't stop. Once that person goes, this a wrap. Bye. And I'm like handing people microphones and putting the stools in. So I'm doing all of these things and all that happens, which I already knew was going to be bad once I saw Joe's face, was Ack all the way at the very end, Tail, who's the one that he gave him the interview, right?
Yeah.
And Ack is all the way at the end. And it is loud there. I can hear crystal clear because I have headphones on. Ack keeps saying, what'd you say? So what'd you say? Mind you, I'm trying to wrap them so we can get the last tail bit of people.
Gotcha.
Right? And Joe is very, very professional. He knows how to do this. This is Academic's first time.
Yeah.
You know? And that's something that we all kind of talked about on the side. Like, okay, I understand this, but it'll be fine. It'll be great. So Joe took a lot of the lead on a lot of stuff that day. And except for that, And he was like, go ahead, act as you. Close them out. Do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. And then instead of closing out, academics wanted to ask another question. And it was, and not only is it fucking Tension City, but he asked the great question of, yo, people were saying that you was left off Bad and Bougie. Was you left off Bad and Bougie? And he goes, who said I was left off Bad and Bougie? And he goes, what'd it say? And as many times, that was not edited to look like, he said that shit that many times. And all I could think about was like, fuck, how am I going to cut this? That's all. That was my initial thought. Like, how am I going to cut this? Oh my God, I definitely want to have this in there. And then the shit just got worse. And then Joe puts down the microphone. He's like, okay, but we got to wrap it up though. And because I'm like, you know, and after that, they're going to wrap it up then. They're not even looking to wrap it up then. And then I'm like, okay. So, all right, you're going to wrap it the fuck up? So I'm looking at act, and then I see Joe just get up and walk towards me. Remember, there's not a lot of fucking feet here. Yeah. There's no space. Like, I have no space, at all. He walks towards me. I'm like, fuck. Drops the mic, all this shit. I'm like, okay. Now I see them all kind of get up. One of them was mad late, like didn't even know what was going on, wasn't even paying attention. He's probably thinking about what he's going to do later. They all get up. And then I'm like, all right, what the fuck is going to happen? And then they start walking in, but obviously they don't want to put hands on him because it's legal shit. So all the other entourage people, yo, got a problem. It's like Jerry Springer. I'm at the very tail end stopping somebody from putting hands on Joe, even though he wasn't really gonna touch him. He like jerked that, my hand is on him, but he goes like this, but he can't. Your arm can't reach him from there. You're just doing that.
It's the fake out.
Being extra, you know. And then my mom is like, why are you trying to stop a fight? Yada yada. I'm like, listen. First of all, I'm from New York. 2, you ain't gonna fuck my people up in front of me. 3, I have to save everybody in my set and what's going on and what's gonna happen, and you know, like. And so at the end of the day, obviously that was our last interview.
Yeah.
But at the end of that day, you know, we thought about it, we talked. And I worked with the editor in the hotel room, and I said, okay, let's do it like this, and let's add this tag in that's very funny. Mm-hmm. You never know who you'll meet on the BET red carpet. Okay. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay, so I was like, all right, how can we still use this shit? And we decided to use it mainly because Chris Brown got into a fight with Quavo that day or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, oh shit, they think it's him, but they was about war for everybody that day. Like, they was coming for every BET. As soon as you get BET award show, everybody want to come out of pocket and do the most. Like, that's how I feel. That's how it's always been, right? They don't do that shit at MTV. They just look like clowns at a Halloween costume and come in and come out.
Dead ass.
But like,
dead ass.
So, Black people functions. Come on, man. Come on.
So we decided as a collective. I brought Nadeska down. I brought Chops down. I brought Act down. And I sat with them and I said, look, this is what the cut looks like. Do we want to do this? Yes or no? And everybody was on board. Mm-hmm. And then we put it out, and then it was like this whole shit with like Complex didn't want it to go out, and there's, you know, all this shit, and my ass might be on the line, and you know, our show went viral after that. There's memes for days. People are saying, do it look like I was left off of Bad and Bougie? You know, like all of these things, like, no, I don't want to do Ratchet TV. No, I don't. But this is real life. This is something that happened. And I made it light at the end, and nobody got hurt. And BET red carpet still existed. The tent wasn't broken. So I just wanted to give something authentic. That was like our show. Our show was authentic. Our show was raw. We didn't really cover things up like that, except for when we did the social cuts, and that wasn't until later on. Yeah. So that's what happened.
You're a good storyteller, I will say. That's a good story.
She's a great peacekeeper too. My gosh.
That too.